When your body begins to forget gravity, it never happens all at once. It begins quietly, almost shyly, in small pockets of sensation that drift in and out of your awareness. You don't notice them at first, the way your hands feel slightly farther away, the way your legs soften into something lighter, or the way the weight of your shoulders loosens as if a gentle hand is slowly untying a knot. These are the earliest signs that your nervous system is shifting, preparing to guide you towards sleep, towards stillness, toward a state where gravity becomes more suggestion than rule. Tonight, I'd like to take you on a slow journey through that process. A journey into the moments where your body releases its grip on the physical world and sinks into something quieter, something deeper, something weightless. Before we begin, take a moment to settle into wherever you are resting. A bed, a sofa, maybe a dimly lit room that feels soft around the edges. Let the air settle. Let the light fall away. Let your mind loosen from the day behind you. Because in this first part of our journey, we are going to travel through the way your body transitions from tension to weightlessness, the way your muscles, breath, and senses gently detach themselves from the pull of the world. This descent is not a fall, it is a soft release, like exhaling after holding something for too long. Your body begins this process with something deceptively simple: stillness. When you lie down, your nervous system receives its first clear signal that it is allowed to let go. Movement invites alertness, but stillness invites surrender. As your body grows more still, tiny sensory systems, ones you rarely think about, start to quiet down. Inside your inner ear, small structures called otoliths rest within a delicate chamber. Under normal conditions, they tell your brain when you tilt, when you move, when gravity shifts beneath you. But as you settle, these signals soften. Your brain begins receiving fewer updates, fewer reminders of weight and direction. It interprets this silence as safety. And with safety comes softness. Your muscles begin to unwind in gentle waves. First the small ones, tiny facial muscles that carry invisible tension, micro-expressions you've held all day without noticing. Then your shoulders sink a little deeper. The curve of your back loosens. Your legs grow heavier, as if the ground beneath you has quietly risen to support every part of you, without asking anything in return. This heaviness is not gravity holding you down. It is your body releasing the effort of resisting gravity. You are not being pulled downward. You are simply no longer pushing upward. Slowly, your breathing follows. You inhale with less urgency. You exhale with a kind of quiet sincerity. Your diaphragm, which has been lifting and falling for you countless times today, begins to move with an easier rhythm, slower, softer, deeper. With each breath, your brain receives the message that the environment is calm, that you are safe, that nothing is demanded of you right now. And because of this, another shift begins. Your sense of position, your internal map of where your body is in space starts to fade. Scientists call this proprioception, but you might simply know it as the feeling of being in your own limbs. When the signals from your muscles become quiet enough, your brain starts filling in the gaps. It guesses, it softens the edges, it lets your awareness blur. This is why your hands might feel larger, or farther away, or strangely distant, why your legs may seem to dissolve into the mattress, why you sometimes can't tell exactly where your body ends and the surrounding space begins. It is your brain letting go of the constant effort of tracking your shape. As this softening continues, something else happens something gentle, something almost dreamy. Your thoughts no longer cling to sharp edges. They drift, they slow, they move like leaves floating on water, carried by a current deeper than conscious intention. Your mind begins loosening its grip on linear thinking, on worries, on planning, on memory. Instead, you enter a quiet in-between, no longer fully awake, not yet dreaming. A space where the mind's language becomes softer than words, softer than images, more like impressions or sensations or fragments of imagination. And this is the moment, the threshold where the feeling of weightlessness begins to form. Not the sudden drop, not the jolt, not the falling sensation that sometimes startles you awake. That comes later, as the brain shifts abruptly into sleep cycles. This early weightlessness is calmer, warmer, like floating, like drifting in a warm pool where the water supports every inch of you, like being held by something invisible but steady. Your heartbeat slows. Your chest rises and falls with a gentle rhythm. Your eyelids grow heavier, though you could open them if you wanted to. But you don't want to, because the world beneath your skin has become far more interesting than the world outside it. Microscopic changes ripple through your muscles. A tiny release here, a soft loosening there. Each one subtracts a little more weight from your experience. Each one fades your awareness of physical edges. Each one makes your body feel slightly less bound to the pull of the earth. Gravity hasn't changed, but your relationship to it has. Your nervous system is no longer holding you upright, no longer adjusting posture, no longer managing balance. All those systems go dim, like lights in a room being turned off one by one. This is why the world begins to feel quieter, why your body feels softer, why your awareness starts slipping gently inward. In this softness, your body starts to forget the rules it follows during the day. Rules about weight, rules about balance, rules about direction. And piece by piece, inch by inch, you drift toward a moment where gravity becomes less of a sensation and more of a memory. A moment where your body is not falling, not rising, not moving, just floating in the quiet between wakefulness and sleep. A moment where you can finally rest in the pure stillness of simply being. This is the beginning. This is the threshold. This is where your body begins to forget gravity. As your body drifts deeper into this quiet threshold, something delicate begins to unfold. You enter the space where consciousness loosens its final ties, and where gravity slips from your awareness like a memory dissolving into warm water. This is the stage where the world inside you becomes weightless, not because gravity disappears, but because your mind no longer insists on holding its shape. Your breath continues to slow. Longer exhales, softer inhales, each one pulling you slightly farther from the waking world. In this state, the body begins releasing control of its muscles, not fully just enough for stillness to become effortless. This release is guided by a deep network inside your brainstem, one that gently turns the volume down on movement. It is the same system that later keeps your body from acting out your dreams, but right now, it starts with only the smallest whisper. A subtle dropping sensation moves through you, like sinking 1 inch into soft sand. You do not fall, you simply settle. Your muscles, previously held by faint threads of tension, begin to soften into something like liquid calm. Your limbs feel distant, as though they have drifted to the edges of a warm, dim room. They remain yours, but they no longer require your attention. Your fingers, your legs, Your shoulders, they all fade into a kind of gentle silence. And then, something strange happens. Something small, something fragile, a tiny flicker of movement inside your muscles, something many people feel but rarely understand. This is the hypnic drift, a miniature release, like a single muscle sighing. It can feel like sinking, or tilting, or drifting sideways. The kind of movement you don't actually perform, but sense as if your body were momentarily unanchored from itself. These drifting sensations come from the borders of sleep, where signals between your muscles and your brain begin to misalign, creating phantom impressions of movement. They are not dreams yet, but they are the outlines of what dreams are made of: loose, fluid, unbound. Your brain is beginning to rehearse its transition into sleep. Some of these sensations arrive as pulses of warmth, others as gentle expansions, as if your chest or legs were slowly enlarging like soft, glowing balloons. Sometimes they feel like your arms are floating just a few centimeters above where they truly rest. These sensations are the first true moments where your body forgets gravity. Because gravity does not exist as weight. It exists as effort, and your effort is fading. Slowly, your awareness of your physical boundaries continues to dissolve. The space around your body seems to widen. The darkness feels thicker, softer, almost protective. There is no urgency, no demand, no need to orient yourself. As your awareness drifts deeper, your thoughts begin transforming. What was once language becomes texture. What was once a sentence becomes a fog-like image. What was once a memory becomes a shifting pattern that no longer belongs to time. You begin thinking in feelings rather than words. You begin perceiving in impressions rather than forms. You begin releasing the structure of the waking mind. In this stage, your brain waves are slowing into theta frequencies, gentle, rhythmic waves associated with deep creativity and the earliest layer of dreams. These waves loosen the borders of your imagination, allowing one thought to dissolve into another, like colors blending in wet paint. You might see shapes, nothing sharp, nothing clear, soft glows, slow ripples of light, faint fragments of scenes that appear and disappear before you can recognize them. This is the pre-dream state, a soft frontier where your mind rehearses possibilities, a place where the rules of waking life do not apply, because the architecture of your thoughts is slowly melting, forming the liquid foundation of the dream world. Your body continues sinking into the mattress beneath you, but the sensation is no longer tied to weight. Instead, it feels like dissolving, like merging with the surface holding you, like being absorbed into a warm, dark sea. Gravity, at this moment, becomes irrelevant. Your awareness is no longer shaped by the external world. There is no up, no down, only drifting. Your heartbeat settles into a steady, unhurried rhythm. Your tongue rests gently behind your teeth. Your jaw releases with the softness of petals unfolding. This is the moment where you become aware of your breath, not as an action, but as a presence, a quiet rhythm supporting you from within. Your mind continues descending. Thoughts turn to mist. Emotions flatten into calm. Your inner world grows wider, quieter, deeper, and then the final shift begins. Your brain starts disconnecting the conscious self from the physical body, like unplugging a machine piece by piece, but with no violence, no suddenness, only warmth, only the soft turning of a key. In this separation, your body becomes something distant, an outline, a silhouette, fading behind a dim curtain. You feel suspended, held, floating in a kind of velvet darkness. Not falling, not rising, just drifting in a place that feels outside of gravity's reach. Your body, for a brief moment, remembers what it is like to not be defined by weight at all. This is the second stage. This is the deeper descent. This is where your body begins to surrender the last remnants of wakefulness. This is where gravity quietly fades from memory. By the time your body reaches this deeper threshold, something remarkable begins to occur. Something subtle, something ancient, something your brain has practiced every night of your life. You begin to drift into the earliest micro stages of dreaming, into the quiet world where your thoughts loosen into images, where your senses dissolve, and where gravity becomes nothing more than a faint whisper. Your body lies still, supported by the soft surface beneath you, but your mind is no longer fully anchored there. It is slowly withdrawing, step by step, from the physical world. Not fleeing from it, just gently turning inward. Inside your brain, thousands of tiny electrical patterns begin shifting in rhythm. What was once the alert, structured activity of wakefulness has now transformed into slow, rolling waves. Theta waves deepen, spreading like gentle ripples across a quiet lake. These waves help untangle memories, soften emotions, and loosen your connection to the external world. Their rhythm is ancient, older than language, older than thought. And, as these waves deepen, the first micro-dreams begin to appear. They are not full dreams, yet more like flickers or fragments. A drifting image here, a soft burst of color there, a sensation that feels familiar, yet unnameable. These early dream forms rise from the edge of your subconscious, like tiny bubbles drifting upward through warm water. You may see a hallway that leads nowhere, a shape you cannot describe, a light that moves in a way no real light does. They dissolve before you can hold them, but each one brings you deeper. Your body has not moved, yet your perception is traveling. In this state, your brain does something extraordinary. It begins disconnecting your senses, one by one, from the outside world. Not shutting them down, but dimming them like lanterns being turned low. Your sense of hearing softens first. External noises become distant, muffled, softened by layers of inner calm. Sounds lose their sharp edges and drift like echoes across a vast space. Then your sense of touch quiets. The temperature of the room fades. The pressure of the mattress becomes abstract. Your skin no longer feels like an outline, but like a gentle, spreading warmth. Sight fades next. Even if your eyes are closed, your visual system continues receiving signals from the world. But now, that system grows quiet. Instead of interpreting shapes and light, it begins feeding the early architecture of dreams. Your inner world becomes the only world. And in this growing darkness, your first true moment of weightlessness appears. Not imagined, not symbolic, but deeply physiological, as your muscles fully enter their resting tone, and as proprioceptive signals fade even further, your mind dissolves the map it uses to track your physical shape. Without this map, your body no longer feels anchored, no longer feels fixed to the surface supporting it. You feel neither heavy nor light. You feel like you are not made of weight at all. This weightlessness is what allows dreams to form, because without grounding, the mind can drift into places it could not reach while awake. In this soft, suspended state, your thoughts begin reshaping themselves. They merge, blend, and shift with a fluidity that is impossible during waking life. The brain becomes a sea of associations. A memory of light merges with the sensation of floating. A whisper of distant thought mixes with an imagined shape. Logic dissolves into atmosphere. Structure melts into tone. You are entering hypnagogic consciousness, the borderland between waking and dreaming. Most people pass through it without awareness. You, in this moment, are drifting through it slowly. And in this beautiful, fragile threshold, the brain begins a deeper process. It starts preparing the emotional landscape for the dreams to come. Tiny structures inside your brain, the amygdala, the hippocampus, the prefrontal cortex, begin shifting roles. During the day, they manage risk, memory, decision-making. At night, they rearrange themselves, working to soften experiences, file away memories, and dissolve emotional tension you carried with you. It is here, in this early dreamlight, that your body begins healing. You feel the warm descent of emotional quiet, a loosening of mental weight, a soft untying of knots you didn't know you were holding. Your brain is beginning to cradle you from within. And still, the sense of floating deepens, not rising, not falling, but existing in a soft space where direction has no meaning. Time also begins to shift. In waking life, a second is a second. You measure it with breath, with movement, with thought. But here, time widens. It stretches. Moments feel longer, deeper, almost infinite. The mind no longer counts seconds. It drifts through them like water. Your awareness moves toward the dream realm. You may sense the outline of a place not fully formed, but present. A room made of soft silver light. A path surrounded by shadows that sway like gentle smoke. A field of shapes that feel alive, but remain undefined. These are the foundations of your first dream of the night. And as you drift closer to this inner landscape, your brain initiates one more profound shift. A gentle suspension of your motor system. Your muscles become fully still. Your body enters a state of quiet protection, a state where movement is unnecessary, where action is impossible, and where the dream world can unfold without interruption. This moment is essential. It marks the true beginning of the separation between body and mind. Your physical self lies deeply anchored to the world. Your inner self begins rising into another, and in this separation, your body completely forgets gravity, because your body is no longer the center of your awareness. Your center has shifted inward, toward images, emotions, sensations, and impressions that exist outside the laws of the physical world. You no longer inhabit weight. You inhabit softness. You inhabit drift. You inhabit the early architecture of dreams. And as you sink fully into this state, breath slow, muscles cils, thoughts dissolving, the doorway to the dream world begins to open. Your body is still. Your mind is floating. And gravity, the rule that shaped every waking moment, is now only a distant echo. You are stepping into the world where nothing needs to be held, nothing needs to be carried, and nothing pulls you downward or upward. You are entering the true night within yourself, the place where dreams begin forming, like soft constellations rising in the dark. This is the final stage before your first full dream. This is where the physical world releases you. This is where your mind begins to travel. This is where gravity fully fades. This is the deeper descent. This is the quiet crossing. This is where your body forgets gravity completely, and your dreams begin to rise. You are now standing at the quietest threshold of the night. The body has forgotten its weight. The mind has loosened its structure, and the last traces of waking consciousness drift like fading shadows behind you. From here, you begin crossing into your first dream, the place where gravity no longer speaks, where the rules of daylight dissolve, and where the world reshapes itself around your inner voice. This moment does not arrive with a sound, or a shift, or a sudden change. It arrives like a soft curtain being drawn across the mind, a warmth, a dimming, a gentle turning inward. The last theta waves slow into broader, deeper rhythms. And then, almost imperceptibly, REM sleep begins. Even though your body lies completely still, inside your brain, activity brightens. It becomes vivid, electric, almost awake, but not in the way you know wakefulness. Here, awareness is made of color and sensation, not logic and language. Your first dream is forming. It begins as a shape soft, blurred, floating in the darkness of your inner world. A light, a texture, a drifting motion, something without form, yet full of potential. The mind takes this fragment and begins stitching it into a scene. At first, the dream world does not look like a place. It looks like a feeling, a slow, warm feeling of rising, not upward, not outward, but deeper into yourself. You feel a pull gentle, like a tide lifting you. You sense the atmosphere shifting, space thickening, light forming. Your mind begins building the architecture of the dream. A horizon may appear, shaped from memory, imagination, or something older than both. A path may form beneath you, made of textures you cannot name. Light may drift around you like soft particles suspended in water. This world is not bound by the physics of day. Shapes bent, sounds stretch. Time opens and folds like soft fabric, and you move through it, not with your body, but with something deeper, a presence, a directionless awareness. Dream movement is weightless. You do not walk, you glide, you flow. Sometimes you simply appear where you need to be, as if your mind were turning a page rather than traveling through space. And the dream grows. It becomes richer, more detailed, more alive, not because the world is being created around you, but because your brain is awakening to its own inner landscape. REM sleep paints emotion as color, memory as texture, and imagination as geography. You might find yourself in a place you've never seen, but feel like you've always known. You might hear the echo of voices formed from fragments of your own thoughts. You might sense wind, water, sound none of it real, all of it deeply true. The dream breathes with you. Inside this world, gravity has no authority. You may rise effortlessly into the air, carried by nothing but intention. You may float sideways, as if your body were made of smoke. You may drift downward into a place that feels like a memory without edges. Your mind is exploring itself. The dream is not random. It is a mirror, a conversation, a soft translation of emotion shaped into feeling and scene. In your first dream of the night, the emotions are the quiet ones. Drifting curiosity, soft nostalgia, barely formed longing, gentle release. This first dream is rarely dramatic. It is a doorway, a soft bridge into the deeper cycles that come later. But even now, the dream world feels real, not because it follows the laws of physics, but because it follows the laws of your inner self. Inside this dream, sounds arrive like memories, a distant hum, a muted vibration, a tone with no source. Light behaves like thought, brightening when your attention leans forward, softening when your awareness drifts away. Textures feel emotional rather than physical. Warmth equals comfort, coolness equals distance, softness equals familiarity. Your mind understands these cues. It moves through them effortlessly. You drift deeper into the scene. Perhaps the world opens into a vast plain washed in blue light. Perhaps you find yourself in a hallway that stretches in impossible directions. Perhaps you float through a forest that glows from within, its trees breathing slowly with each cycle of your breath. The dream follows your emotional center, not your logic. It knows what to show you before you know what you feel. And then, as the world becomes more vivid, your sense of self begins to shift. You no longer feel separated from the dream. You are inside it, part of it, made of the same material as the air, the light, the shapes around you. In waking life, you observe your surroundings. Here, you merge with them. Your mind behaves like a soft lens, shaping the dream as you move through it. Every thought becomes architecture. Every emotion becomes landscape. Every whisper of desire forms a horizon. This is where the dream reveals something extraordinary. It is not a world you enter, it is a world you create. You are not a visitor. You are the source. The floating sensation deepens not as a movement, but as an identity. You are made of drift. You are made of softness. You are made of light. Gravity is not forgotten here. It is irrelevant. Your inner world has no need for weight. It moves with intention, emotion, memory, and softness. As you drift farther into the dream, your brain begins its deeper work. It processes the experiences of the day. It softens unresolved tensions. It organizes memories with gentle precision. It smooths emotional edges that were sharp before sleep. The dream becomes a landscape of healing, a quiet conversation between the deep self and the waking self, a weaving of past experience into new understanding, a soft untangling of knots you carried through the day, all of it disguised as imagery, motion, and atmosphere. You drift through the dream like a traveler through mist. Sometimes you follow a path. Sometimes the path follows you. Sometimes there is no path at all, only a quiet openness that feels infinite and safe. Nothing pulls you downward. Nothing holds you in place. Nothing reminds you of the body resting in the physical world. This is the purest moment of release. The moment where the dream fully takes shape, where consciousness transforms, gentle and fluid, where the mind becomes both storyteller and witness. You are inside your first full dream, a world without weight, a world without gravity, a world shaped entirely by softness. You drift through it effortlessly, inward, deeper, farther, until the dream expands around you like a living universe, infinite and quiet. This is where the night truly begins. This is where your mind opens. This is where gravity fully disappears. This is your first dream, and you are floating inside it. Your first dream has opened, soft and weightless. But as the night deepens, your mind begins drifting into something richer, more profound, more layered. You move beyond the early dreamscape, into the deeper architecture of sleep, a place where memory, emotion, and imagination merge into a single, seamless world. This stage arrives slowly, like a tide rising in warm darkness. Nothing sharp, nothing sudden, only a gradual shift in the texture of the dream. Your breath grows even softer. Your heart beats with quiet consistency. Your muscles rest in complete stillness. Here, your brain enters the next depth of REM, a slower, more immersive rhythm. The dream brightens. The world grows larger. The scenes become more fluid, more interconnected, more alive. Everything feels woven from the same soft fabric. The air, the ground, the light, even your own presence. You begin to sense the dream shaping itself around your inner currents. A quiet emotion becomes a color. A forgotten memory becomes a pathway. A gentle curiosity becomes a movement. In this stage, your brain taps into its vast reservoir of stored experiences, pulling details from years of life faces, textures, places, tones, mixing them with imagination to form landscapes that could never exist in the waking world. The dream deepens. You may find yourself entering a wide, open space made of dim, breathing light. A valley that glows softly with hues you cannot name. A sky that bends and curves like a slow ribbon of silver mist. A horizon that expands each time you look toward it. Inside this world, motion feels effortless. If you want to drift forward, you simply do. If you want to rise, your dream body floats as lightly as thought. If you want to sink deeper, the landscape pulls you down with gentle gravity that isn't gravity at all, only intention. In waking life, the body obeys physics. Here, the dream obeys feeling. You travel through this world not as a physical form, but as attention itself. Your presence becomes diffuse. Your boundaries soften. You feel not like a person within a world, but like a part of the world itself, a ripple within its atmosphere, a spark within its light, a current within its endless ocean of imagery. And as the dream deepens further, something beautiful begins to happen. Your mind starts stitching together the emotions of your day, not with analysis, not with logic, but with symbols, sensations, and gentle narrative threads. A memory you didn't realize was heavy may appear as a long corridor that slowly opens to a new room. A worry may appear as a shadow that fades when approached. A quiet longing may take the shape of a distant landscape you feel drawn toward. These dream metaphors are the brain's way of healing, softening, reorganizing your inner world, restoring emotional balance. Your brain is not trying to teach you, it is trying to soothe you. As you drift deeper, your surroundings shift with liquid grace walls bending, distances stretching, horizons dissolving. Time becomes circular. Events unfold out of sequence. Scenes blend into one another, not as chaos, but as a flowing river of inner life. You may find yourself standing on a shoreline of dark blue sand, or gliding through a forest where every leaf glimmers like a faint memory, or floating above a calm, starless ocean that feels like the inside of your own mind. These scenes are not random. They are the dream's language, a language made of emotion rather than meaning, of atmosphere rather than words. Here, the subconscious speaks softly, and the deeper you drift, the more your mind releases. Not forgetting, just loosening its hold. Old tensions dissolve like ink diluted in water. Unprocessed feelings soften into quiet waves. Lingering thoughts unwind until they are thin, weightless threads. Your brain continues its rhythmic work, processing, balancing, restoring, releasing. The deeper REM state is the mind's dark ocean, warm, cleansing, infinite. You float through it like a drifting ember of awareness. And then, At the heart of this depth, the dream becomes something else, something more immersive. You step into a scene that feels whole, complete, almost real. Perhaps you wander through a long, tranquil hallway, lined with soft, glowing tones. Perhaps you walk through a city made of memory and moonlight. Perhaps you explore a quiet island suspended in a sea of silver mist. The scene feels familiar and unfamiliar at once, like a memory from a life you never lived. The deeper the dream becomes, the more your sense of self softens. The you who moves through this world is not the waking self, not bound by identity, history, or form. It is a distilled version of you, your emotional center made visible. You move like light. You think like color. You sense like a drifting current. In this depth, the world feels impossibly gentle. Every surface is soft. Every sound is quiet. Every movement is smooth. There is no threat here, no fear, no urgency. Your brain is choosing scenes that cradle you, not confront you. This is one of the brain's most beautiful gifts. When you sleep deeply, it protects you with softness. The dream grows keter still. The colors dim into warm shadows. Motion slows into drifting. Light settles into dusk. You feel your awareness lowering like a lantern, sinking into still water. And then, the final moment of this depth arrives. You dissolve, not in a frightening way, but in the most peaceful way imaginable. Your sense of I softens into the dream around you. You become the atmosphere, the quiet, the flow, the drift. You become the world you are dreaming. This is the deepest point before the cycle shifts. A moment of pure suspension. A moment where gravity does not exist, because the concept of weight no longer has any meaning. You are floating in the purest form of inner quiet, held, supported, drifted, dissolved. This is the heart of the dream, the center of the night, the place where your mind restores itself in ways you will never fully remember, but will always feel. The world around you begins to dim once more, preparing for the next shift in the sleep cycle. But for this moment, this soft, dissolving moment, you are neither body nor thought. You are pure rest. This is the deepening. This is the release. This is the dream's quiet core. This is where gravity is not only forgotten, it is meaningless. As the deep core of your dream quiets, a subtle transition begins. It does not pull you upward or downward. It does not wake you or drop you deeper. Instead, it turns you gently, as if the entire dream was slowly rotating around you, guiding you from one layer of sleep into another. This shift is the soft space between worlds, where the landscape of your mind begins to reshape itself. The dream you had just dissolved into, the one where your presence blurred into mist and memory, begins thinning at the edges, not fading, not disappearing, just loosening, like a watercolor painting touched by a drop of clear water. The colors soften, the shapes relax. The sound dims into a quiet hum. Your breathing remains slow, steady, effortless. Your body remains still, safe, deeply at rest. But your inner world begins to move again, not with urgency, but with an ancient rhythm. This is the natural transition between REM phases. Your brain is preparing for a shift, a gentle turning of the page. Inside your mind, electrical activity changes texture. What was once vivid and bright becomes fluid and diffuse. Dream logic melts into drifting fragments. Scenes break apart, like feathers carried by a soft breeze. And in this in-between moment, a familiar sensation emerges, one that nearly everyone has felt, yet few understand. A sensation of falling, but it is not falling through space. It is falling through layers of consciousness. A soft drop, a quiet sinking, a warm descent without fear or weight. A moment when gravity feels like a suggestion, not a force. This falling sensation is not danger. It is the mind letting go of the previous dream and preparing the next. Your brainstem sends small pulses to your muscles, microsignals checking the boundaries between body and mind. Sometimes these pulses reach the muscles directly, creating small twitches, the flutter of a finger, the jump of a leg, the quiver of a shoulder. This is the hypnic adjustment, the brain's way of confirming that the body remains still, safe, unmoving. After this check, the dream begins flowing again. Not the same dream as before. A new one, forming in the warm, dark space of your subconscious. But you are not inside it yet. You are drifting in the corridor between dreams. In this corridor, your sense of self feels lighter than before, as if a soft wind moves through you. You might sense echoes, the shadow of a voice, the outline of a thought, the memory of a color. These are fragments left over from the previous dream. Not gone, just floating. Your brain is reorganizing itself, sorting emotional patterns, reshaping memory, deciding which stories to continue and which to release. The corridor widens. A soft darkness expands around you, not empty, but full of potential. The sensation is similar to drifting underwater, but without pressure, without weight, without sound. Your mind moves effortlessly through this space. Your awareness glides, drifting without direction, without effort. As you float here, your sense of time shifts again. Moments feel stretched, like the gentle slowing of a pendulum. You exist in a place where nothing needs to happen, yet everything is quietly preparing to begin. And then, a new texture appears in the darkness. A faint glow, a subtle hum, a sensation that feels like the beginning of a place. Your brain is constructing the next dream, piece by piece, layer by layer. It starts with emotion. Dreams always begin with emotion, not a strong feeling, just a tone, a softness, a warmth, a quiet hint of something peaceful. This emotional tone becomes the foundation, the soil upon which the new dream will grow. Next, your brain adds movement, a slow, steady drifting, forward, upward, or simply deeper inward. This movement is not decided by logic. It is guided by your inner currents. The space around you begins to shape itself in response. Colors gather, textures form, light bends into gentle arcs. Shadows fold into shapes that are not objects yet, but promises of objects. You are witnessing the birth of the next dream, the formation of a new inner world. In this quiet construction, gravity is once again absent. You are held by nothing. You drift on nothing. You exist in a space that bends to your presence. And as the dream strengthens, your awareness softens. You become less observer, more participant, less separate, more integrated. The glow brightens. The shapes clarify. A horizon begins forming, curving softly, breathing gently. A dream scene is emerging. Perhaps it becomes a floating walkway suspended in twilight, or a vast room filled with drifting particles of light, or an endless field illuminated by a moon. that doesn't need a sky. The details are not chosen by you consciously, but they are yours, in the deepest way possible. And then, the transition completes. You step, not with feet, but with awareness, into the new dream. The corridor closes behind you, soft as closing wings. You are inside the next world, weightless, rested, drifting, held by the quiet pulse of your sleeping mind. The dream expands around you, slowly, smoothly, patiently, and you begin again, floating through a world without gravity, guided by the deepest parts of yourself. This is the shift between worlds. This is the quiet turning. This is the soft descent from one dream to another. This is the gentle continuation of the night, a journey unfolding inside you, with every breath, every wave, every dream. As you cross fully into the second dream, the world around you grows wider, richer, and more intricate than before. The first dream was gentle, a quiet opening, a soft descent inward. But the second dream is something different. It is deeper, more atmospheric, filled with layers of memory and imagination, woven together with exquisite precision. Your awareness drifts through the new landscape, not as a traveler with a body, but as a presence without weight, a point of consciousness floating through a world sculpted by feeling. The dream forms around you gradually. At first, you sense textures more than shapes, a softness in the air, a warm glow pressing gently against the edges of your awareness, a slow rhythm that feels like breath, but not your breath. Then colors begin to gather, not bright, not loud, but muted like moonlit smoke, deep blues, soft silvers, warm amber drifting like dust, suspended in water. These colors flow into one another, forming the first outlines of the world. Perhaps it becomes a long, shimmering corridor with no true walls, only drifting curtains of light. Perhaps it becomes an open plain, stretching into a quiet horizon, or a floating garden where the branches move as slowly as clouds. Wherever you arrive, the world feels impossibly calm. There is no noise here except the gentle hum of your own awareness. No movement except the soft drifting of the dream itself. No weight, no tension, no need to orient yourself. You exist as a quiet observer in a world that breathes around you. Your mind is now deep in the REM cycle. The emotional centers of your brain glow softly, weaving memory fragments into the dream. Not literal memories, but impressions, softened by time, transformed by imagination. A place you once walked becomes a glowing field. A hallway from childhood becomes a floating passage. A sound you once heard becomes a gentle vibration in the dream air. Everything familiar becomes new again. You drift forward. As you move, without walking, without effort, the dream world adjusts to your presence. The atmosphere curves, light bends, textures ripple like soft water. This is because the dream is not fixed. It is alive. It reshapes itself according to your emotional state, your breath, your resting unconscious rhythms. If your mind softens, the world softens. If your awareness deepens, the landscape deepens. You may notice distant shape forming, not kite people, not kite figures, but silhouettes made from memory's faintest lines. They move gently, slowly, as if carved from breeze instead of substance. These are not characters. They are emotional echoes, appearing only long enough to help your mind process the quiet shifts within you. They never threaten. They never intrude. They drift like feathers and dissolve again into the soft dream air. In the deeper cycles of sleep, your brain prefers safety. It chooses softness over conflict, warmth over fear, drifting over structure, and so the world around you becomes softer still. You may find yourself entering a vast room where the floor glows faintly beneath your awareness, as if illuminated by your own presence. Every step you think creates a ripple of gentle light. Every breath you imagine sends a soft breeze through the dream. The ceiling is endless. The air is warm, dense, protective. The deeper you drift, the more weightless you feel. The dream's gravity, or lack of it, becomes the defining sensation. You move upward without rising. You sink without falling. You expand without stretching. Your awareness fills the space like a slow exhale. Inside this dream, the concept of place becomes flexible. Our reason appears, then folds inward like a soft sheet. A doorway forms ahead, then dissolves before you reach it. A path glows beneath you, then curves upward, as if it were rising to meet you. These shifts are not confusing. They are soothing. They carry you gently, like waves carrying driftwood. Your mind feels deeply supported, deeply held, deeply safe. And then, something extraordinary happens. Your emotional core begins to open. In this dream, you feel emotions that are not sharp, not painful, but softened into warm sensations. A distant longing may turn into a glowing landscape. A quiet joy may shimmer in the dream air, like soft starlight. A memory of someone you loved may appear as a warm presence. Not a form, not a face, just a feeling. The dream is translating your inner world into imagery, allowing you to gently resolve emotions you didn't even know were waiting. This is one of the profound purposes of the second REM dream, emotional integration. Your mind is smoothing the edges of your day, untangling tension, balancing your inner world, all while you drift through a landscape that feels like a sanctuary carved from light and memory. As you move deeper into the dream, you begin to notice another shift. The landscape becomes more detailed. Textures sharpen softly around you. Colors stabilize. Light becomes more directional. This is your mind entering the stabilized REM phase, where dreams become vivid, immersive, almost real. Yet the weightlessness remains. It is the anchor of the dream experience. You glide over a field that glows softly beneath your awareness. Each step is silent, smooth, like drifting through warm fog. You reach a quiet ridge overlooking a wide expanse of dreamlight. The world breathes in slow rhythms, as if inhaling and exhaling with your own mind. Here, within this depth, you feel something almost sacred, a sense of profound stillness. This stillness feels like truth, not a fact, not an answer, but a feeling of absolute peace. The dream cradles you, holds you, supports you. You are safe here. You are soft here. You are weightless here. And in this weightlessness, you sense the dream beginning to prepare for its next shift. Not yet, but soon. The world around you dims slightly, its light turning warmer, dusk-like. Your mind is preparing to descend toward deeper sleep, toward slower waves, toward the quiet dark beneath dreaming. For now, you simply stand, or rather exist, within the vast, glowing quiet of your second dream, floating, drifting, held without gravity. This is the expansion. This is the deeper opening. This is the dream's true horizon. The second dream begins to soften, and as it does, a deeper pull rises within you, a slow and gentle downward motion that is not a fall, not a drop, but a warm surrender. Your mind is preparing to leave the vivid world of REM and slip back into the darker, quieter layers of sleep. This is the descent into deep rest, the moment when consciousness loosens its final threads and the body enters its most restorative state. The world around you begins to dim, not fade dim, as if someone was slowly lowering the brightness of an inner sky. The colors dissolve into softer gradients, shapes relax, horizons flatten into calm shadows. Your dreaming presence feels lighter, less defined, like a candle flame softening under a gentle breeze. This is the first sign of REM deactivation, a slow unwinding of the electrical activity that shaped your dream. Inside your brain, the emotional centers that were glowing moments ago begin to quiet. The images become softer, the motion slows, the narrative thins until it becomes nothing more than breath and memory. You are not leaving the dream abruptly. You are sinking beneath it. A warm downward wave passes through you, a settling, a grounding, a deep exhale from the subconscious. The dreamscape loosens its form, becoming more fluid, more abstract, more like the soft edge of thought. The walls, if there were walls, begin to melt. The ground becomes weightless fog. Light turns into faint glowing dust. Your awareness does not resist. It drifts downward, gently, willingly. This descending is natural. It is ancient. It is the rhythm your body has known since the beginning of your life. As you sink deeper, your brain waves begin to change. The fast, bright REM patterns slow into theta, then into delta, deep, slow waves that ripple like thick currents through still water. These waves mark the entrance into deep sleep, the most restorative stage, the one that mends the body, steadies the heart, and balances the mind. In this descent, your sense of place evaporates. There is no landscape, no path, no horizon, only the soft sensation of falling inward. Slow, warm, endless. You do not feel fear. You feel release, a surrender that feels ancient and safe. Your breathing changes subtly, becoming heavier, deeper, anchored in the body. Each exhale pulls you farther from the dream world and closer to the quiet darkness beneath it. The shift is so gentle, you barely notice the moment when vision becomes shadow, when shadow becomes darkness, when darkness becomes stillness. Your body sinks into the surface, holding it, not physically, but in awareness. The distinction between your body and the bed dissolves like a memory underwater. Your muscles relax into their heaviest state. Your limbs drift into absolute stillness. Your heartbeat slows into a low, steady rhythm. Every system in your body moves into repair mode. This is the sanctuary of sleep, where the mind releases and the body heals. In this depth, there are no dreams, or if there are, they are nothing more than light pulses in the far distance. Instead of scenes or imagery, you feel sensations, warmth, pressure, silence, stillness. These sensations are not external. They are created by the body itself, as if you were floating in a warm, dark sea, made entirely from your own chemistry. A profound quiet spreads through you, not the absence of sound, but the presence of stillness. You are deeper now than dreams, than images, than memory. A place beyond language, beyond time, beyond self. Your awareness becomes small, like a glowing ember, not extinguished, just resting, waiting, floating. Delta waves sweep through your brain like slow tides. Each one carries away pieces of the day. Tension, thoughts, worries, noirs. Each wave cleanses. Each wave restores. Each wave brings your mind closer to pure rest. At this depth, your body repairs what the day has worn down. Your cells renew. Your muscles recover. Your immune system strengthens. Your heartbeat resets its rhythm. Nothing in the waking world matters here. Not memory, not decision, not weight. You are held in a darkness that is warm, not cold, quiet, not empty, alive, not void. A darkness that feels like the softest blanket, wrapping itself around your entire being. Time loses meaning. Minutes stretch into wide, quiet spaces. Hours dissolve into one long moment of stillness. You exist without moving, without thinking, without feeling anything but the deepest calm. This is the heart of sleep, the core, the deepest descent. At this depth, your mind begins preparing itself for the next rise, the next slow ascent, back towards dreams, towards gentle imagery, toward the next cycle of the night. But for now, you stay, floating, resting, sinking. You are deeper than gravity, deeper than dream, deeper than awareness. You are held in the purest form of rest your body can create. This is deep sleep. This is the quiet below all quiet. This is the night breathing for you. And here, in this warm, silent depth, you are completely, utterly free. In the quiet depths of deep sleep, you drifted far beneath light, far beneath imagery, far beneath the architecture of dreams. But now, slowly, gently, your mind begins to rise again. Not upward toward waking, not sharply, not suddenly, but in a gradual lifting, like a lantern drifting toward the surface of warm, dark water. There is no urgency in this rise, no signal, no interruption, only a soft shift, a faint brightening inside the darkness. Inside your brain, the slow delta waves that guided you through the deepest rest begin to soften. Their long, heavy arcs draw closer together, growing lighter, faster, less dense. Your consciousness does not return all at once. It flickers gently, like the first spark of dawn reaching a quiet landscape. This is the beginning of the ascent, the slow, natural rise toward another REM cycle. Your awareness floats upward, still wrapped in the softness of sleep, but gaining a subtle glow. The darkness around you becomes thinner, not brighter, just thinner, as if light were waiting behind it. You don't feel movement, but you feel change, a quiet expansion in the mind, a loosening of the heaviness of deep sleep, a delicate reawakening of connection. Your body remains still, deep in its nightly repair, protected by layers of calm. But your inner world begins to stir, not with thought, not with memory, but with the earliest signals of imagination. Tiny sparks of imagery appear in the distance, like faint stars blinking through a thick night sky. They are soft, subtle, barely there. These are hypnopompic fragments, the mind's early experiments as it shifts back toward dream-making. They drift across your awareness gently, rarely forming anything recognizable. A glimmer of color, a ripple of light, a distant shape, a soft movement, a sensation without source. Your mind is warming, softening, preparing. The rise continues. Not fast, not sharp, but steady, like a gentle tide returning to shore. Your sense of time begins to reshape itself. The endless stillness of deep sleep gives way to small pulses of presence. Moments become slightly more defined. Your awareness swells, then relaxes, then swells again. This rhythmic expansion is the mind's natural ascent back toward dreaming. You feel a faint weightlessness forming, not the floating of REM, not yet, but the early whisper of it. Your inner world begins to take on texture again. The darkness becomes layered. Shadows feel thicker. Light feels closer. This is the mind resurfacing. And then, a softness spreads through you, like a warm cloud drifting through the center of your awareness. This is your emotional brain reactivating, gently, cautiously, bringing back the tones and textures that will soon become the colors of your next dream. You might sense the memory of a feeling, a calm nostalgia, a quiet longing, a warmth with no story attached. These emotions are not directed. They are not sharp. They are not loud. They simply glow. Light begins to seep into your inner world, not from above, not from around you, but from within. The edges of the darkness soften. A faint horizon appears in the distance. A curved line, a Varmhase, a suggestion of space. Your mind, like an artist preparing a new canvas, begins mixing colors you have never seen, from emotions you barely recognize. And though you do not yet dream, you can feel the dream approaching. Your breathing grows lighter. Your heartbeat becomes slightly quicker, though still calm. Tiny muscles around your eyes twitch faintly, the early signs of REM stirring back to life. Your brain waves shift again, gently rising toward the vivid patterns of dreaming. You feel as if you are floating upward through layers of soft fabric, each one thinner than the last, each one filled with a slightly brighter shade of warmth. The sensation is peaceful, like drifting toward a shore made of light. As you rise, your awareness becomes more fluid. Thought begins to blur into feeling. Feeling begins to blur into imagery. Imagery begins to blur into motion. Not motion through space, motion through consciousness. You might sense yourself turning, but not physically, turning like a page, turning like a thought, turning like a soft current shifting direction. And then, an emotional tone becomes stronger. Not an emotion of the waking world, not joy, not sadness, not fear. A dream emotion, a warm pull, a gentle curiosity, a soft atmosphere forming inside you. Your mind uses this feeling as the foundation for building the next dream. Light gathers around the feeling. A world begins to form, shapeless at first, then slowly, patiently taking on contours. You are now moments away from entering another REM cycle. In these final seconds of rising, your awareness feels suspended, not heavy, not light, just hovering in a warm, quiet place, between stillness and motion. Then, the shift, a soft release, a turning inward, a brightening behind the darkness. REM takes hold. Your emotional brain awakens fully. Your imagination opens. Your memory centers stir like leaves, touched by warm wind. Your sense of self becomes fluid again, ready to drift, ready to shape, ready to dream. and the world begins to form again. Color first, then movement, then space. You are rising into a new dream, not the one from earlier, a deeper one, a richer one, a dream shaped by everything that happened tonight. Every wave, every descent, every release. You feel the border dissolving. You cross through it effortlessly, quietly, softly, into the next realm, where weight does not exist, and gravity is forgotten again. This is the ascent. This is the return. This is the gentle rise back toward dreaming. As the final layers of darkness thin and your mind rises fully into a new REM cycle, you enter the deepest dream of the night. The dream that does not just visit you, but surrounds you, shapes you, breathes with you. This dream is different from the ones before it. It is richer, wider, more luminous, created not only from memory or emotion, but from the full, quiet power of the resting mind. You cross into it softly, almost weightlessly, like a feather drifting into warm light. The first thing you feel is not a place, but expansion. Your awareness opens, stretching into a vast, endless space that feels both foreign and familiar. A gentle glow surrounds you, not a bright light, a soft, steady radiance, like the quiet shimmer of dawn behind clouds. This glow begins shaping itself, slowly, patiently, forming the architecture of the world you are about to explore. You feel yourself moving forward. Though you do not step, you glide, carried by intention, by curiosity, by the deep currents of your dreaming mind. Colors gather like slow-moving nebulae, deep indigo, soft silver, faint gold, drifting like dust in still air. These colors swirl and fold, layering themselves into a landscape that feels alive. And then, the horizon appears, wide, open, shimmering with textures that shift like breathing fabric. This is the threshold of the deepest dream. You float closer. The world unfolds before you, an infinite plain, illuminated by gentle, pulsing light, as if the ground itself were thinking, remembering, dreaming along with you. There are shapes out there, not solid, not sharp, but flowing forms made of faint memory and soft emotion. A tower that curves as though sculpted from moonlight. A river of glowing mist, drifting in slow, impossible directions. A forest whose branches pulse with warm, rhythmic light, as if each tree were a heartbeat. Everything in this world moves with your mind. If you feel calm, the air around you deepens into stillness. If you feel curious, the horizon widens. If you feel longing, the landscape opens into paths made of gentle light. The dream mirrors you, not perfectly, but poetically. You drift forward again. Your consciousness feels larger than before, not contained within a body, but radiating outward. You sense that you are not simply in the dream, you are part of its creation. In these deepest moments of REM sleep, your brain blends imagination, memory, emotion, and pure, unconscious creativity into one seamless experience. The world around you begins to form sharper details. You might see a lake of still, glass-like water, its surface reflecting a night sky filled with slow-moving stars. But when you look at your reflection, you do not see a face. You see light, shimmering softly, shaped like your awareness. You may float over a field of tall, whispering grass that glows faintly at the tips, bending in waves, even though no wind moves. You may walk, or simply glide into a vast hall made of translucent stone, its ceiling stretching impossibly high, into layers of shadow and faint color. All of it feels sacred, gentle, timeless. In this dream, time behaves differently. Moments feel longer, space feels deeper. Your presence feels weightless and unbounded. Your emotional mind is fully awake now, but your logical mind stays quiet, content to drift in wonder, without questioning anything. This is when something extraordinary happens. Your mind begins stitching together meaning, not literal meaning, not liaison, not messages, but deeper integration. Fragments of your day and your life blend into the dream's landscape. A memory becomes a glowing doorway that opens onto an impossible scene. A person you once knew appears not as a figure, but as a warm, drifting shape of light. A feeling you've carried for years becomes a horizon that expands as you approach it. The dream becomes a world made of your inner life, expressed in color, motion, light, and atmosphere. You float deeper. Suddenly, the sky shifts, expanding outward into a vast cosmic canopy. Stars move slowly, like living particles drifting in a warm ocean. Constellations rearrange themselves with each soft movement of your attention. The universe feels closer, gentler, as if made entirely of breath. You feel suspended between earth and cosmos, between body and mind, between self and infinite space. There is no gravity here, not even the memory of it. Your entire being moves freely, guided by emotion, carried by the dream itself. In the deepest dream of the night, you notice a profound quiet, not silence, quiet, a deeper kind of stillness that feels like understanding without words. You drift into it. Within this stillness, your brain performs its most essential emotional work, healing, integrating, releasing. Old tensions evaporate, like mist warming under dawn. Fears lighten into faint shadows that dissolve as you move past them. Unspoken hopes take shape, as soft glows along the path ahead. This dream is not random. It is you, in your deepest, truest state, processing, letting go, rebuilding. The world grows brighter again. The colors warm. The horizon opens. You feel the dream surrounding you. In gentle waves, you float through it, as easily as a thought drifting through calm water. Everything is soft. Everything is warm. Everything is weightless. The final stage of the deepest dream is approaching. You sense the shift not as movement, but as warmth, a rising glow around your awareness, a soft light gathering at the edges of the scene. Your mind is preparing for the next transition, not to waking, but to the next cycle of sleep. And as the dream begins to dissolve, you feel gratitude without words. Gratitude from the body, the mind, the heart, for this deep, weightless rest. You drift toward the gentle dimming light, toward the next horizon of the night, toward the continuing rhythm of the sleeping mind, still floating, still soft, still beyond gravity. This is the deepest dream of the night, and you are held within it, like a quiet star drifting through an endless sky. As the deepest dream begins to dissolve, the world around you softens once more. The vivid colors, the gentle shapes, the drifting landscapes, all of them begin to loosen, as if the dream is slowly exhaling. Nothing disappears abruptly. Nothing closes. The entire scene simply releases you, gently, tenderly, as your mind prepares to sink back into quieter layers of sleep. The glow that once illuminated your dream fades into a warm haze. The horizon folds into itself like soft fabric. The sky dims into a gentle gradient of shadow and dusk. You feel the world receding, but not leaving, just softening, like the memory of a lullaby. Your awareness becomes lighter again, thinner, as if your edges were dissolving into calm. This is the beginning of the REM to deep sleep descent, a natural, rhythmic shift that your brain performs many times each night. Inside your mind, the bright REM activity begins to quiet. Neural patterns slow, emotional centers dim. The sharpness of imagery relaxes into drifting impressions. Your body remains still, cradled in a deeper comfort than anything waking life can offer. Your breath becomes heavier, then steadier. Your chest rises with languid ease, each inhale pulling you downward, into a quieter, darker place. Your heartbeat softens into its slowest rhythm. The dream continues thinning around you, a forest becoming mist, a horizon becoming glow, a world becoming warmth. And then, a gentle darkness rises from below, not cold, not empty, but warm, like a soft velvet tide, lifting you into deeper rest. You do not resist. You surrender effortlessly. Your mind drifts downward through layers of silence. Shadows become softer. Time grows slower. Thoughts stretch into long, gentle waves. This is the return to N2, the quiet borderland between dreaming and deep sleep. Here, you feel half-formed sensations, a floating pull, a light pressure, a warm heaviness spreading across the body. Your limbs feel distant, then almost forgotten. Your muscles hold no tension. Your skin feels wrapped in stillness. The body is fully at rest, and the mind is letting go, one soft layer at a time. As you drift deeper, imagery continues, breaking apart, not vanishing, but dissolving into colorless, drifting particles. You may see faint glows, slow-moving shadows, abstract shapes that mean nothing, yet feel soothing. These are the final traces of REM, fading like the last stars before dawn in reverse, a descent from light into darkness, not rising, but sinking. Your brain waves shift again. Theta gives way to slower patterns. The mind's internal chatter quiets so deeply that there is almost no awareness left to follow it. You are approaching deep sleep once more, a softer, quieter descent than before. Your awareness becomes smaller, like a drifting ember, cooling into a gentle glow. Your breathing is the only sensation that remains fully clear, slow and anchored, pulling you deeper. With each rhythmic wave, you are entering the state where the mind grows quiet and the body takes over, repairing, restoring, recovering. The darkness around you is warm, thick, protective. It folds around you like a blanket, sealing you inside the calmest part of the night. At this depth, dreams no longer form into scenes. They become only pulses of distant thought, faraway sensations, brief flickers that come and go, without shape. You may feel yourself sinking, warmly, slowly, as if resting at the bottom of a quiet ocean, where no currents move. This sinking is not a fall. It is a grounding, a settling, a return to the deep core of rest. Your heartbeat slows even further. Your temperature stabilizes. Your muscles reach their most peaceful looseness. Your consciousness becomes tiny, like a star seen from very far away. This is deep sleep again, the second major descent of the night. You drift through it, carried by the body's rhythms, supported by the chemistry of rest, held by the darkness that feels soft as velvet. There is no story here, no imagery, no sense of self, only stillness, only quiet, only the purest form of healing that sleep can offer. Time stretches out, becoming wide, unbroken, like one long moment, with no edges. You remain suspended in this depth, bathed in slow waves of silent repair. The night continues overhead. Dreams cycle rotate above you, like distant galaxies of thought, but you are below them, rooted in the still, the calm, the quiet, and slowly, softly, the sense of weightlessness returns, not as floating, but as the feeling of being held, so gently that your body forgets it has mass at all. You exist here in the purest rest, between dreaming and waking, between memory and forgetting, between self and silence. You breathe, you drift, you heal. You are deeper than thought, deeper than time, deeper than gravity. This is the return to the quiet below, the place where the night gathers itself and holds you until the next rise. Deep within the quietest layers of the night, you rest in a place where time feels wide and still. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, a subtle shift begins, a warmth, a faint stirring, a whisper rising from beneath the layers of sleep. Your body knows without thought, without instruction, that the night is beginning its final turning. Nothing moves at first. Nothing changes sharply. The shift is like the softest breeze brushing across still water. Inside your brain, the deep delta waves that carried you through the second descent begin to lighten. Their heavy arcs rise gently, preparing the mind for the next stage. Your awareness remains dim, small, glowing faintly in the darkness, but the glow grows, breath by breath. The body is still deeply asleep. Your limbs feel distant and heavy, as though resting at the bottom of a warm ocean. Your muscles remain fully relaxed, loose and weightless. Yet the mind is awakening not to the world, but to itself. This is the beginning of the final ascent toward REM, the last dreaming cycle of the night. It starts with tiny flickers of activity, like sparks, appearing in a quiet void, a faint pulse of emotion, a subtle flare of imagery, a drifting sensation of movement that has no direction. Your breathing shifts, still slow, still calm, but with a little more variation as the brain regains energy. Your heart beats with a gentle quickness, still safe, still soft, but no longer at the depth of deep sleep. The tide is turning. You rise slowly, carried upward by the natural cycles etched deeply into the human body. As you ascend, the darkness thins once more, not fully, just enough for a softness to appear behind it. Like moonlight filtering through thick clouds, your awareness becomes wider. Moments stretch and then condense. The mind begins gathering its tools for dreaming. Emotion, memory fragments, imagery stored in hidden corners. Everything prepares itself for the last dream of the night. This dream will not be as deep as the one before. It will be lighter, gentler, closer to waking. A dream that drifts on the edge between two worlds. You might feel the first ripples of it small waves moving across your awareness, shaping tiny impressions that come and go, a feeling of being lifted, a color blooming softly then fading, a shadow drifting like a feather. Your sense of self becomes more fluid again. The boundaries loosen. Thought becomes image. Image becomes feeling. Feeling becomes motion. Your brain waves shift fully into theta, the rhythm of imagination, waking quietly. The emotional centers brighten, warm and steady, as if illuminated from within. Your eyes move beneath your eyelids. Light twitches, the early signs of REM returning. You are close now. The last dream begins forming around you, not with landscapes or scenes at first, but with atmosphere, a gentle glow, a soft breeze, a sense of open space that feels familiar and safe. Your awareness floats into it. Then, a quiet blooming. Our horizon forms. Colors gather. A faint path appears beneath your drifting presence. This final dream is lighter, more transparent, more delicate. It feels like walking through warm mist that remembers your thoughts before you think them. The world around you may be smaller, simpler, built from fragments of memory, woven into soft, dreamlike fabric. A room from long ago, but filled with golden light. A quiet street that glows like early morning. A person who appears as warmth rather than form. In this last dream, your mind gently sorts through the remnants of the day. The unspoken emotions, the unfinished thoughts, the things you held quietly inside yourself. It does not force anything. It does not confront. It simply organizes, softly, lovingly. Even the challenges of the day appear here as gentle shapes, drifting like clouds, easy to approach, easy to release. This dream is the mind's way of smoothing the edges, mending tiny fractures, softening the weight you carried. As the dream unfolds, you move through it effortlessly. There is no gravity here, not even the memory of it. You drift freely, guided only by calm curiosity. But at the edges of the dream, something begins to brighten. A soft glow, subtle and slow, as if dawn were approaching inside your mind before it reaches the world outside. Your emotional brain begins to cool, lowering its glow. Imagery becomes lighter, less anchored. Scenes grow translucent. The dream prepares to release you. Not abruptly, gently. Your breathing becomes slightly deeper. Your heartbeat steadies. Muscles around your eyes relax. The dream grows thinner, like morning fog touched by soft light. You drift upward, carried by the rhythm of waking that is not quite here yet. The colors fade into warm haze. The horizon dissolves. The shapes soften. You feel yourself floating toward the surface of sleep, toward the moments before waking, a place where thought begins to return, but does not settle. A quiet in between, a gentle threshold. Your awareness brightens softly, like the first glow of sunrise behind closed eyes. You are not awake, not yet, but you are rising, calm, safe, light, weightless. The night has done its work, and now it carries you gently toward the beginnings of morning. This is the final cycle, the final rise, the final dream dissolving into warmth. You breathe, you drift, you emerge slowly from the quiet world beneath gravity, held, rested, renewed. You hover now in the gentlest space of the night, the quiet place between dreaming and waking. where the world is soft, the mind is light, and your body feels like it is made of calm. There is nothing you need to do, nothing to follow, nothing to hold. The night carries you, slowly, effortlessly, into the softest rest. The final dream has faded into warm haze, and the last traces of imagery drift away, like thin clouds dissolving into morning light. The darkness around you is not empty. It is warm, protective, like a soft blanket woven from everything the night has healed in you. Your breath settles into its natural rhythm, deep and unhurried. Each inhale feels like a quiet rising. Each exhale feels like a gentle release. Your body remembers how to rest. It sinks into the mattress beneath you, as if returning to something familiar, a place it trusts. Inside your mind, the last flickers of REM soften and fade. The bright activity dims into slow, steady waves of calm. You are drifting into the lightest layers of sleep's final chapter, a space designed only for comfort, only for quiet, only for deep, effortless rest. Thought dissolves. Only softness remains. Your awareness becomes like a feather, barely there, floating on the calm air of the night. There is no weight in your limbs, no tension in your jaw, no effort anywhere in your body. Everything is warm, everything is settled, everything is still. You are held gently, as though the night has cupped its hands around you and promised to keep you safe until morning. As your breath continues its slow cycle, the world inside you grows quieter. Even your thoughts, once sparks of light, become distant, fading into soft murmurs that no longer ask to be understood. Your mind is resting now in the most natural way, unstructured, unhurried, unbound. You drift a little deeper into a space where consciousness loosens, but does not disappear, a warm twilight between sleep and sleep. Here, there is no direction, no tomorrow, no yesterday, only now, a now that feels endless, soft, like warm water, holding you gently just below the surface. The night breathes with you, slow, gentle, steady. You feel suspended, not floating upward, not sinking downward, just resting in quiet stillness. This is where the body restores its final energy, where the mind finds its calmest rhythm, where the night gives its last gift of peace. Nothing presses against you, nothing pulls at you. The world is soft and distant. You are safe in the dark, safe in the quiet, safe in the weightlessness that sleep offers when the night reaches its deepest kindness. Your breath becomes softer still, barely a whisper. Your heartbeat rests in its slowest, calmest rhythm. You are exactly where you need to be, here, in this warm, silent pocket of the night, held in gentle gravity that asks nothing of you. The edges of your awareness blur until you are not fully watching, not fully noticing, only being, buying breath, buying warmth, buying stillness. You feel the night settling around you, tucking itself into every small space inside you, filling you with quiet, like soft light filling a room. And as the final moments of consciousness fade, there is nothing left to do, no path to follow, no dream to hold, no thought to tend. You simply drift, softly, easily, completely, into a steady, peaceful sleep that carries you through the last stretch of the night and into the morning that waits far beyond your awareness. You are safe. You are calm. You are floating In the quiet, beneath gravity. Rest now. The night is holding you. As the last traces of dreaming fade into the soft dark, your awareness drifts inward, deeper than thought, deeper than breath, into the rhythm that has carried you every moment of your life, the quiet, steady heartbeat that continues its work, even as the rest of the world dissolves into sleep. The heart does not sleep. It rests. It changes. It shifts into a nighttime rhythm that is older than memory itself. The darkness around you feels warm, almost pulsing with a faint glow, as though the night has become an extension of your own blood. You begin drifting toward the gentle thrum beneath everything, the soft lub-dub rhythm that keeps you grounded, even as your mind floats far from the waking world. As you move inward, the world becomes fluid, soft, bathed in deep crimson light. You are moving through the quiet corridors of the cardiovascular night, a place where the heart slows itself, to protect you, to restore you, to let the night do its work. Your breathing guides the way, each inhale creating a faint upward lift, each exhale allowing you to sink deeper toward the strong, steady center. The heart glows ahead of you like a warm ember, not sharp, not bright, but alive in a way that feels ancient and comforting. You come closer. The sound grows deeper, rounder, a soft echo that resonates through your entire body. Your heart at night is different, not the same heart that moves through the noise of day, not the same beat that rises to meet stress, effort, motion, thought. At night, your heart becomes a gentle caretaker. It slows, it softens, it shifts into parasympathetic rhythm, a calm mode designed for repair. This slowing is not weakness, it is intelligence. The heart knows the night. It listens to your breath. It senses the stillness of your limbs. It recognizes the drifting of your mind, and it adjusts itself to match the softness that sleep requires. You come even closer now, floating just above the warm surface of the heart. You can feel its movement, a slow rhythmic expansion, followed by a gentle contraction, not forceful, not urgent, but deliberate and quiet, a nighttime heartbeat, a rhythm designed, not for action, but for healing. Blood flows through the chambers like warm rivers of light. It moves slowly, smoothly, with no rush, carrying oxygen, nutrients, and calm to every part of your resting body. As you drift along, you can feel the arteries widening slightly, a nighttime expansion that allows easier flow. The pressure lowers, strain falls away. The heart works less, but accomplishes more. You are inside the most tender part of your biological night. The heartbeat deepens again, low, steady, almost like a distant drum, played underwater. You feel yourself sinking to it. Your breath slows to match its gentle cadence. Your thoughts settle into its quiet rhythm. Your awareness softens until it becomes a faint glow. The heart continues its work, pumping calmly through the dark, sending warm waves through your entire body. In gentle pulses, you barely notice. This is the heart in its most peaceful form, a keeper of the night, a guardian of the sleeping mind. Its slow rhythm sends a message to your nervous system. Rest, heal, let go. The message spreads. Your muscles sink deeper into stillness. Your jaw loosens without effort. Your shoulders settle softly. Your limbs grow lighter, then heavier, then weightless. Every part of your body listens to the heart. Every cell responds. The heart becomes not just an organ, but a lullaby, a steady, calming drum that keeps the night quiet inside you. As you drift deeper into this inner world, you notice something else, a faint shimmering around the heart, as if thin threads of light are weaving connective lines across your body. These are the signals of the autonomic nervous system, your parasympathetic branches, restoring calm, slowing stress hormones, releasing tension that accumulated during the day. With each beat, your body unwinds. With each pulse, your balance returns. The night becomes warmer, softer, quieter. You float above the glowing heart for a moment longer, absorbing its rhythm, letting it wash over you, like slow, gentle waves along a dark shoreline. Then, as if following the current of your own pulse, you begin drifting away, back through the warm chambers, back along the quiet rivers of blood, back toward the deeper systems waiting beneath. The heart stays behind, steady and calm, continuing its work, in the quiet rhythm it has known, from your first night to your last. You drift onward, still held by its calming beat, echoing through your entire body. Soft, steady, endlessly gentle, the night continues inside you. As you drift away from the soft rhythm of your resting heart, a new pull begins, silent, cool, almost luminous. It rises from deep within your skull, from the quiet spaces between your thoughts. You are being drawn toward the hidden machinery that awakens only when you sleep, the brain's cleansing tides, the gentle flow that washes the mind each night. The world around you dims again, but not into darkness, into a deep, cool blue, like moonlight filtering through still water. You float upward, toward the center of your awareness, toward the brain that, despite your sleep, is just beginning its most important work. The air feels lighter here, clearer, almost hollow, and then you feel it, a slow, expanding coolness, spreading across the inner walls of your skull, a sensation like water rising along the edges of thought. You are entering the glymphatic system, the brain's own nighttime ocean. During the day, your brain is too busy to clean itself. Thoughts, reactions, memories, decisions, they fill every pathway, every fold, every corner. But at night, your brain opens the channels that the day closes, and you drift toward them now, toward the canals, where the mind releases the weight it can only let go while you sleep. The space inside your brain changes. Neurons pull slightly apart, creating tiny highways that only exist in the darkness of rest. A soft tide begins to flow through them, clear, cool, almost shimmering. This is cerebrospinal fluid, entering the brain like a calm sea, pouring through open gates. You float beside it, moving as it moves, gliding along its slow currents. The fluid washes through the neural landscape, picking up fragments left behind by waking life. Proteins, metabolic waste, molecules your brain no longer needs. The glymphatic flow gathers them gently, like a tide collecting driftwood along a quiet shore. The deeper you drift, the more you feel the brain lighten, not in weight, but in clarity. The fog of the day dissolves. The pressure fades. The overstimulated pathways cool. Your mind grows smoother, quieter, like a lake settling after a long storm. You move through the corridors of your sleeping brain, past neurons resting in low rhythmic pulses, past synapses dimmed into soft flickers, past the quiet hum of distant dreams, still glowing far away. The glymphatic tide pulls you gently forward. Fluid flows around you, gliding through channels that expand only during deep sleep. You watch it sweep past the hippocampus, the place where memories are stored. It washes over the edges, gathering fragments the brain no longer needs. The sharp corners of thought soften. The emotional residue of the day loosens, dislodged by tiny waves of cleansing calm. You drift around the thalamus, the gatekeeper of sensory input. Here, the fluid cools and quiets, the parts of the brain that usually react to every sound, every motion, every shift in the outside world. Now, those gates are closed. Silence settled deeper. You glide through the cortex, the wrinkled landscape where thinking, planning, imagining all take place. The tide moves through every fold, every curve, every valley of this intricate terrain. It lifts away the fragments of the waking mind, unfinished thoughts, tiny stress, unnoticed tensions, not erasing them, lightening them. Your brain becomes clearer, calmer, cooler, like a window wiped clean. After a long, busy day, you sink deeper into the flow, riding through the slow-moving rivers that run between neurons. Your awareness drifts softly between shimmering currents that pulse with a faint blue glow. You feel no effort, no movement, only gentle carrying. The brain continues its quiet work, restoring balance, washing every corner, preparing the mind for a new day. Even as you remain deeply asleep, the fluid gathers near the base of the skull, carrying the day's remnants with it, flowing toward the lymphatic pathways that transport everything away. You follow the last currents as they sweep calmly downward, slow, steady, like rainwater slipping across smooth stone. One final wave passes through the brain, cool and cleansing. You feel the mind become lighter still, clear as moonlit water, quiet as deep night. The glymphatic flow fades, its work complete. The pathways gently close. Neurons s'étolent. The brain rests, and you begin drifting downward again, carried softly away from the cool, cleansing ocean of the sleeping mind. You descend back toward warmth, toward deeper layers of your resting body, toward the systems that will guide the next part of your night's journey. The brain grows dim behind you, peaceful, clean, quiet. You drift on. As you leave the cool currents of the brain's cleansing tides, another sensation begins to rise, a warmer one, softer, almost golden. It spreads through you like a gentle glow, subtle at first, then steady, then deep. You are entering the realm of the body's nighttime chemistry, the silent symphony of hormones that wake only when you rest. You drift downward, through quiet space, into the warm, dim atmosphere of your endocrine night. The air changes here. It thickens, softens, feels almost honey-like in its warmth. You can sense shapes moving slowly around you. Not organs, not structures, but fields of influence, clouds of chemistry that drift through the body with purpose. A faint light pulses ahead of you, a soft amber glow that feels both ancient and deeply familiar. You float toward it. This is where the body performs, its deepest restoration. This is the realm of night hormones, the messengers that do the work your waking body never has time for. The glow expands as you move closer. It feels warm, like the quiet center of a healing flame. And then, gently, it reveals itself. The first energy you sense is the slow release of melatonin, the guardian of the night, the gentle guide that leads your body into darkness and stillness. Even now, deep into your sleep, its presence remains, a soft hand on your shoulder, reminding your body to stay in the calm you have earned. It wraps around you like a thin veil of moonlight, soothing, steady, keeping the night intact. You drift deeper. Another warmth rises, stronger, richer, almost glowing. Growth hormone, the silent architect of repair. It moves through you in slow, deliberate waves, reaching muscles, tissues, bones, cellular structures, quietly waiting for renewal. You can feel it, not as action, but as warmth spreading outward. Your body accepts it, like dry earth absorbing rain. It begins repairing what the day has worn down. Tiny strains in your muscles, microscopic tears, hidden inflammation. Everything softens, everything heals, everything begins again. The warmth continues spreading, collecting in places where your body needed support. Your legs, your spine, your shoulders, your hands. Every part receives its share. Every part listens. You drift past this golden current into another, a cool leona glow that feels calmer still. This is prolactin, the hormone of deep rest, of stillness, of the immune system, rising to its full power. It spreads through your body like a quiet field of light, strengthening defenses, repairing cells, restoring balance. Where melatonin brings darkness and growth hormone brings repair, prolactin brings peace, a deep biological calm. Your immune cells wake, not with urgency, but with quiet focus. They move through your body like tiny lanterns of light, finding, repairing, replacing. Your entire system becomes a soft, silent workshop of renewal. You float onward. A deeper current appears, slow, steady, dark blue, with a faint sapphire shimmer. Cortisol, the morning hormone, not yet awake, not yet rising. At night it rests. It sinks low, falling to its quietest point, allowing healing to take the lead. You drift beside it, like gliding next to a lake that has not yet felt the Sunday. In this low state, your body releases tension you didn't realize you carried. The stress of waking life settled downward, fading into silence. Every hormone of the night works together, not loudly, not boldly, but with quiet, perfect timing. Melatonin keeps the world dim. Growth hormone repairs. Prolactin calms. Insulin sensitivity rises. Cortisol rests. Immune cells roam. Tissues restore. And all of it happens in the background of your sleep, weaving a tapestry of healing and renewal. You drift between these currents, feeling their warmth, their coolness, their soft pulses, moving in cycles, older than the human mind. You feel the chemistry of night, settling you deeper. Your muscles loosen further. Your temperature drops slightly, held in perfect balance. Your breathing deepens, just a touch. Your heartbeat settles into the slowest, gentlest rhythm of the night. You float in this field of hormones, as though it were a warm ocean carrying you effortlessly toward deeper rest. Nothing pushes you, nothing pulls you. You simply drift inside the quiet intelligence of your sleeping body. The glow around you warms once more. Gold, leonda, midnight blue, all blending into one soft light. The night continues its work. You continue sinking, deeper, softer, more at ease. You drift out of the hormonal ocean, feeling lighter, softer, renewed, and the warmth follows you as you descend toward the next system, waiting quietly below, a system that protects you even while you dream. The immune night, the silent guardians, and you drift toward them now, slowly, softly, guided by the chemistry that keeps the night alive inside you. As you drift away from the warm ocean of nighttime hormones, the darkness around you cools again. The golds and violets fade, replaced by something deeper, an indigo quiet, a stillness that feels older than sleep itself. You are descending into the hidden world of the immune night, where silent guardians wake only when you rest. The air grows cooler, thicker, filled with a faint shimmer, like dust suspended in a beam of moonlight. You can sense motion here, slow, deliberate, like small lights shifting through deep water. These are your immune cells, your nighttime protectors, the silent caretakers that roam through your body when everything else becomes still. During the day, they are watchful but restrained, pulled in many directions, distracted by motion, noise, stress, sunlight. But in the dark, as your body sinks into rest, they rise, quietly, softly, fully alive. You drift downward, toward a field of moving light, tiny, glowing shapes that pulse gently as they glide across the internal landscape. Macrophages, lymphocytes, natural killer cells, T cells drifting like small lanterns, B cells blooming like tiny stars, each one with purpose, each one with memory, each one waking to protect the sleeping body. You float among them, weightless. The currents of immunity move around you like soft tides. A faint warmth brushes your awareness. The glow of cytokines, the soft chemical signals that guide the immune guardians. From one part of your body to another, you drift closer. The immune cells sense you, not as an intruder, but as part of the world they protect. They glow more brightly, like fireflies, acknowledging your presence. Their movements are slow, but full of intention. They glide through tissues, scan for imbalances, repair damage, remove what no longer belongs. Silent work, essential work, night work. You follow a group of macrophages as they move through the soft darkness. They expand and contract gently, their shapes shifting like small clouds of living light. They search for tiny fragments left behind by the day, cells that need replacing, molecules that need clearing, inflammation that needs calming. When they find something, they engulf it with a soft, glowing fold and carry it away. Without struggle, without sound, you drift onward, deeper into the night terrain. A cool, blue-white glow appears ahead of you. A cluster of natural killer cells, stronger, brighter, their edges sharp, like small stars. They patrol with purpose, checking each cell they pass, ensuring its signals remain healthy, balanced, True, if they find something harmful, they move toward it, without fear, without hesitation, guided by ancient intelligence. You watch them work. It is quiet, précis, like a dance without music. Their strength does not disturb the night. It protects it. Farther in, the darkness warms slightly, a gentle amber glow, surrounding clusters of T cells and B cells, the memory keepers of your immune world. They drift together like schools of glowing fish, sharing signals, exchanging information, remembering every pathogen your body has ever met. In sleep, their memory strengthens. They learn, they organize, they prepare for tomorrow. Your immune system becomes wiser. As you rest, you float in the middle of them now. Their soft lights brush across your awareness, like warm sparks drifting past your skin. They are everywhere, flowing through blood, moving through tissues, watching without watching. Every breath you take brings more calm to their work. Every slow heartbeat sends fresh waves of support. Your body is healing. Through their silent choreography, you drift deeper. The air cools again, dark but not empty. You sense the bone marrow beneath you, a deep red glow, pulsing slowly, with the creation of new immune cells. This is where life renews itself, where tomorrow's guardians are born in silence. You glide gently above it, feeling the warmth rise, like quiet fire. Far above, the hormones of the night continue guiding the immune dance. Melatonin strengthening signals, growth hormone aiding repair, prolactin enhancing response. Everything works together, perfectly, effortlessly, quietly. You drift backward through the fields of glowing cells, watching as they continue their patrols, their repairs, their protections. They move with purpose, with patience, with deep biological wisdom. Not one of them rushes, not one of them hesitates. The night belongs to them, and they are keeping watch. You rise slowly, leaving the soft glow of your immune guardians behind. Their light fades into the dark, but their presence remains, quiet, alert, protective. The night holds you, and they hold the night. You drift upward, toward the next system waiting for you, the place where dreams weave themselves into memory, where meaning is shaped in silence. The mind's archive, the subtle hands of sleep, translating experience into understanding. And you rise toward it now, softly, securely held by the guardians, who watch over every breath you take as you sleep. As you rise from the quiet glow of your immune guardians, something lighter begins to form around you. The cool indigo darkness softens into a faint silver haze, drifting like thin mist across the surface of your awareness. You are moving toward the part of the night where the mind does its quietest and most delicate work weaving memory. The air feels different here, not warm, not cold, but soft in a way that resembles thought. Before it becomes thought, you float through a pale corridor of dim light, weightless, quiet, held in the gentle pull of the sleeping mind's deeper patterns. Ahead of you, a soft glow appears, spreading outward, like a lantern illuminating fog. This is the hippocampus, the keeper of your memories, and at night it becomes a silent loom. The structure reveals itself slowly, not as anatomy, but as a flowing shape of warm light, folding inward and outward, like petals opening under water. Threads of faint gold drift from it, thin, shimmering strands, each one carrying a fragment from your waking life, a moment you experienced, a thought you held, a feeling you didn't fully notice, a detail your mind collected without knowing why. You drift closer. Inside the hippocampus, soft pulses of light move in slow, rhythmic waves, the mind replaying the day, piece by piece, sorting, filtering, deciding what to keep and what to let pass into silence. You watch as memories rise, like tiny beads of light, some bright, some faint, some flickering. The mind is gentle with all of them. A bright memory, rich with emotion, glows as it moves through the structure. The hippocampus wraps it in soft golden light, strengthening it, anchoring it. A faint memory, simple, unimportant, fleeting, drifts toward the edges and dissolves into the dim air, like mist fading into night. The process is peaceful. There is no struggle, no tension, no noise. The brain is choosing what will become part of you and what will be released forever. You drift along the edges of these gentle circuits, the quiet firing of neurons, the soft repetition that helps the brain understand what truly matters. Memory is not stored whole. It is shaped, compressed, balanced. The hippocampus holds the essence, then prepares to send it outward, to the cortex, the long-term storage of the mind. You float downward, into the deeper folds of this glowing landscape. Here, dreamlike waves shimmer through the cells, theta oscillations, slow and hypnotic, guiding experience into meaning. Dreams begin to stir nearby, taking fragments of memory and blending them with imagination, emotion, instinct. They are not recreations of the day. They are reinterpretations. A conversation becomes a color. A worry becomes a landscape. A fleeting feeling becomes a character that appears only for a moment and then disappears. The memory weavers work with all of it. Dreams soften the edges, smooth the sharp parts, have range details into patterns the waking mind can understand later. You drift deeper into this subtle dance. A memory moves past you, glowing softly, not a scene, but the emotion behind one. The hippocampus folds it gently, then releases it, like a glowing leaf, floating on a silent stream. The cortex waits nearby, vast, open, like a great quiet library, with endless shelves of dim light. As you approach, the space expands. The air becomes still, wide, as though nothing here has ever rushed. A memory enters the cortex and settles into place. With a faint pulse of light, it becomes part of your long story. Not loudly, not forcefully, but quietly, naturally. You feel the process continue. A lesson learned, a feeling understood, a moment softened, an emotion released. The brain does not only store, it transforms. You drift through a slow current of shimmering sparks, each one a tiny piece of something you will remember tomorrow, without knowing how. It entered your mind. The cortex folds them gently, like pages closing in a book. Then, you move deeper still, toward the regions where emotional memory is shaped. Here, the amygdala glows with a faint, warm amber light. Strong emotions, undergo their own quiet processing, fear softening, joy stabilizing, uncertainty becoming clarity. You watch as an emotional memory passes through this space. It brightens, dims, brightens again, and settles into calm. Nothing here is harsh, nothing abrupt. This is the brain healing, the emotional weight of the day. This is why you wake feeling different. Even if nothing in your world has changed, you drift among the memory weavers, watching the night do its quiet work. You feel yourself becoming lighter as memories settle, as emotions soften, as meaning forms in tiny pulses of dim light. The hippocampus slows its activity. The cortex grows still. Dreams fade into distant glow. The night finishes its weaving. You begin drifting upward, leaving the quiet libraries of your mind behind. Memories settle softly behind you, stored, balanced, part of you now, in ways you will never have to think about. The air around you warms slightly. The landscape fades into soft, warm shadow. You move toward the next part of your internal night, a place where the cycles of sleep prepare to turn, where your body begins shifting toward the final rhythm of the early morning, and you drift toward it now, calm, quiet, light, your mind softly woven into the fabric of rest. You rise gently from the quiet libraries of memory, drifting toward a new kind of stillness, one that feels slightly brighter, slightly warmer, as though the night itself is beginning to breathe in a different rhythm. You are entering the final sleep cycle, the soft turning point where the body prepares for morning without disturbing your rest. The darkness around you lightens by the smallest amount, not into brightness, but into a softer shade of shadow, like the faint glow that appears just before dawn touches the sky. You're not waking, not rising, not returning. You're simply shifting into the last architecture of the night. The air feels warmer here, as if the body has begun to hum with a quiet, internal readiness. You float upward through layers of soft, dim currents that guide every sleeper through the final stretch of rest. The brain waves around you, change subtly, theta returning, alpha flickering at the edges, slow oscillations lifting gently, like the surface of calm water, stirred by the first whispers of wind. You feel it, the mind warming, the body steadying, the night preparing itself for its last task. Ahead of you, the dream centers begin to glow again, not brightly, not deeply, but softly, as if warming up for the lightest dreams of the night. This is REM before dawn, the most delicate form, the easiest to forget, the one closest to waking, yet still entirely its own. The emotional brain flickers gently. Memory pathways hum at low amplitude. Light images begin forming, like distant shapes behind frosted glass. But you aren't entering dreams. You're simply passing through the region where they begin. The body is doing its own work now. You feel a warm shift at the base of your skull, a gentle rise of acetylcholine, awakening the circuits that move you closer to a lighter state of sleep. At the same time, a faint coolness washes through the adrenal pathways, the soft signal of cortisol, beginning its slow, natural climb, preparing you for the energy you'll need in the morning. Nothing abrupt, nothing loud, just a whisper of chemistry aligning with time. You drift through it, weightless, unaffected, like a feather passing through layers of warm air. Your temperature rises by less than a degree, just enough to bring your metabolism out of its deepest economy. Your breathing grows, slightly more varied, the chest rising, with tiny changes in rhythm that the body controls without waking you. Your heart beats a touch faster, still gentle, still slow, but more awake than it was in the depth of night. You float above the rhythm, feeling it soften beneath you, like a warm tide. Your muscles, still wrapped in stillness, begin releasing the last remnants of tension stored from long ago, as if the body were preparing for renewed movement without disturbing the calm you rest in. The world inside you is shifting from deep repair to gentle readiness. You drift onward. The hypothalamus glows faintly below, the keeper of your internal clock. Its rhythms pulse in slow golden waves that spread through your body, like soft light under closed eyelids. It measures darkness, counts the hours, reads the chemistry, and determines, with quiet precision, that morning is approaching, still distant, still soft, but coming, and so it sends signals, tiny pulses, to the adrenal glands, to the temperature regulators, to the brainstem, to the systems that coordinate waking. Not yet, not now, but soon you float above these currents, unbothered, untouched, held gently in the last cradle of the night. Your limbs remain heavy, comfortable, soft. Your jaw is loose, your eyelids unmoving. Your breath is slow, anchored in calm. You are drifting through the border where sleep becomes lighter, but not thinner, still deep, still safe, still wrapped in warm shadow. A soft glow rises ahead, the final REM window of the night. Dreams here are gentle, short, weightless, like ribbons of light, carried by a warm breeze. Some people dream here, some drift, some rest in blank stillness. You drift, floating just above, the shallow waves of imagery that shimmer without forming scenes. A color passes you, warm, silver. An emotion glides by, calm curiosity. A shape forms, then dissolves, before becoming anything. The mind is simply stretching, warming, preparing. This is sleep's equivalent of a slow sunrise. Inside the brain, you drift through the final dream architecture, your awareness almost gone, thin as a whisper, soft as fog. The brain softens its activity in gentle rhythmic pulses. The body closes its night work. The cycles align. The internal clock glows a little brighter. Every system inside you stands in perfect balance. Not awake, not asleep, but in a state of quiet transition. And you drift above it all, held by the last breath of the sleeping night. Nothing pulls you, nothing rushes you. The body does the work. You simply float. As the final sleep cycle begins its slow descent, your awareness becomes smaller, lighter, like a star dimming, into the softest morning haze. The night is not finished, but it is preparing to hand you gently into the hands of morning, and you drift, quiet, unmoved, held in the soft rhythm of the last stretch of sleep. The final sleep cycle begins to settle beneath you, its gentle waves fading into calm stillness. The night has carried you through every rhythm of rest, through dreams, through deep repair, through inner oceans of memory and chemistry. And now, softly, without pulling you upward, the body begins forming a quiet bridge toward the edge of morning. The darkness around you lightens just slightly, a faint, cool grey, blending into the warm shadows that held you through the night. It isn't daylight, not even the beginning of it. It is the body's own version of an internal dawn, a subtle bloom of readiness that glows from inside. You drift toward it. The brain waves soften again into gentle alpha flickers, like distant ripples. On the surface of a quiet lake, thought hasn't returned. It won't not yet, but the mind feels less deep, less hushed, as though it is turning from the vast darkness towards something lighter. Your body moves first. You feel the faintest warmth in your chest, a soft stirring in the breath. Your diaphragm rise with a little more fullness, a little more variation, guided by circuits that are beginning to wake without waking you. Your heartbeat shifts, still slow, still calm, but with a quiet alertness that wasn't there before, a gentle rhythm of preparation. Inside your brain stem, tiny changes unfold, signals that regulate breathing, temperature, muscle tone. They begin adjusting for the world you will soon return to. Not abruptly, not quickly, just enough to begin forming a soft bridge toward morning. You drift deeper into this transition. The hypothalamus glows softly below, sending its final signals to align your inner clock. Melatonin dims, like a lantern, slowly closing. Cortisol recesses, like warm gold, beneath the horizon. Still low, still gentle, but carrying the faintest hint of energy. Your temperature increases by a fraction, warming the blood, loosening the muscles that have rested for hours. But the change is subtle, soft, as though the night is whispering you forward instead of pulling you. You float above this equilibrium, your awareness thin and quiet. Far above you, the outer world remains dark. The sun has not touched the earth. No light exists here, except the warm glow rising from within your resting body. This is the earliest phase of waking, not consciousness, not alertness, but readiness in its gentlest form. You drift toward a soft pulse of golden grey light, a halo forming around the edges of your awareness. Tiny muscles around your eyes twitch faintly, stirring with the residue of the last dream. But the dream has dissolved now. Its colors have faded into warm mist. All that remains is the feeling of having been carried through imagination, through memory, through healing. You float through the final quiet spaces of your internal night. Your nervous system begins rebalancing itself. Sympathetic circuits warming, parasympathetic ones loosening their hold, not to wake you, only to prepare the ground you will soon walk on. You drift into a warm current, soft as breath. The immune cells retreat into slower patterns. The hormonal waves settle. The glymphatic flow closes its nighttime gates. Every system that worked in silence now rests. Everything inside you returns to balance. You glide toward the threshold where sleep becomes morning. Not the morning outside, but the morning inside you. A place where the body gently organizes itself. In the last minutes of night, Your breath deepens in a soft, natural wave. The chest warms. The shoulders loosen. The jaw relaxes further. Your limbs settle deeper into the surface beneath you. Heavy, warm, comfortable. Still asleep. Still soft. Still sheltered. Nothing in you is ready to rise yet. Nothing needs to be. You drift along the faint glow of your internal dawn, hovering in the quiet, before any thought could form. There is no need for awareness, no need for movement, no need for intention. Your body knows the rhythm. It has followed it for every night of your life. It will follow it for every night to come. You feel the night hold you gently, one last time, as if offering a final breath of rest to carry with you into the coming day. Allons, qui exhale, moves through you, softening every remaining tension. The air around you feels almost weightless, almost like nothing exists but breath, warmth, and quiet. This is the soft bridge between sleep and morning, the place where the body prepares, but the mind still rests. You are floating in its center, safe, calm, wrapped in night, even as dawn approaches, somewhere far beyond your awareness. There is nothing left to do, nothing to follow, nothing to understand, only to drift, to breathe, to let the last moments of night hold you. Your body prepares gently, your mind stays soft, your awareness remains almost nothing, and you rest, deep in the quiet, between darkness and light, between night and day, between forgetting and returning, held, safe, still, sleeping. The night has done its work, and now it lets you float peacefully into the softest edge of morning.